Hello everyone and welcome back to the Armory for another unit comparison here for the Red Dragons Coalition, and we're going to take a look today at what I think at least is a lot of people's favorite in the plane tab, and that's going to be ATGM planes, specifically the Chinese JH-7 compared to the North Korean Su-25K. And Osama, you want to tell us what these are best at, which one you'd take, and all the details we need to know?
Yeah, so these are both obviously ATGM planes, but they perform quite differently. JH-7 acts a lot like a Peace Rhine. Got a little bit less range, but it'll ripple fire both missiles, fire and forget, and just evac. The Su-25K kind of has to guide its missile after firing, and it only shoots one at a time, and it kind of goes in head on. And it's also got a nice gun for fire support purposes.
Now,
or
I
even
have
kind
a
of finishing off
question
tanks.
here, just looking at this card's unit stats, which is armor on a plane. Like, this is relatively rare, I think mostly outside of USSR and North Korea. Does that help, or is it sort of like one of those meaningless stats?
Yeah, so those are actually a very, very important stat for planes. 2 armor on aircraft basically means you will take you'll take a little under half damage from anti-air. So if a Patriot hits you head on, it actually does like 4.5 damage or something. So
So that could save the plane, is what you're telling us.
Exactly. For some of the other planes that have 2 armor on the rear, like the A-10, it's excellent for baiting out shots and just tanking a shot and just, and leaving, wasting enemies' missiles.
Now, how does that balance out with the comparative ECM? Because we have 10% for the Su-25K, 40% for the JH-7.
Yeah, so I would say it definitely helps, but I think the JH-7 is a little bit better and overall. The Su-25K, the armor does help, but the issue is you can still be stunned by larger anti-air missiles. So if it has about 9 HE or 9 HE anti-air, it's always going to stun when it hits, and that's going to be the biggest pitfalls, because when you're stunned, you're going to get side shotted, which I know sounds weird on a plane.
Semi-actives.
Yeah, and then you can no longer fire your missile. So I think the Su-25K, it's definitely very usable when you're playing straight North Korea. It's actually pretty great for the price still. I think it's excellent because you get 3 per card as North Korea. But in the context of the JH-7, I don't think it's as good. Now, that being said, it does hit harder. If there is a super heavy and you're shooting it head on, Su-25K is almost going to kill it probably 80% of the time.
Now, last question, and this one is a really, really important one. Would you take 2 of these at hardened, or would you take 2 of these at hardened?
Oh, I was a little confused there for a second. But one thing to note with the JH-7, I think it's really, really important, and I don't see a lot of people do this on ranked. You can get away with this on ranked because there's not a lot of air defense up, but you take the JH-7, you fly onto a wide flank outside of air detection, and you come in on their super heavy from a flank.
And that makes that 26 AP collide against 8 to 12 sort of armor on the side.
Yes, you will one-shot super heavies from the side, and I've gotten this to work rather not consistently, obviously, but quite often, especially against higher level players.
I've done it a few times too. I've had it done to me once or twice. There's nothing more infuriating than thinking you're safe and then realizing very suddenly that you're not. So that's going to be our unit comparison for today. I hope you guys found it informative, and we'll be back here finishing up the Red Dragons Coalition pretty soon and moving on to another one tomorrow and moving forward.